Rise and shine, liberty-loving patriots. Welcome to the KrisAnne Hall Show. KrisAnne Hall here, KrisAnne.com, where we are liberty over security, principle over party, and truth over your favorite personality. Welcome to day 1, episode 1 of Banned from YouTube. That's right, you are not watching me on YouTube right now. I know you are not watching me on YouTube right now because YouTube sent us a notice the other day that an episode that we did 100 episodes ago somehow violates their policy. You know, what's really interesting was they, they said that we violated the policy. Christian, will you go get me the glass of water off the desk in my office? Excuse me, it's not COVID. So they said that an episode that we did 100 episodes ago, before there were any, jab requirements or anything like that, violated their community standards for, what was it, like medical something, misinformation. When, once again, I was giving information that the CDC was posting at that time, right? But now, right? Everybody say hi to Christian. He's getting me water so I don't choke to death. So now, apparently, YouTube can go back 100 episodes and hold you accountable for a standard that didn't even exist when you were doing the show. Day 1, episode 1 of Banned. Banned from YouTube. Well, that means that you're catching me on Spotify, iTunes, Google Music, Anchor FM, Jesus Pod. We are on Twitch, DLive, Rumble, and Facebook. So I want to thank you guys for being loyal supporters, but more importantly now, since we're missing a third of our audience now, please make sure that you like and share. Go ahead and like and share now. So those who are wondering, why am I not getting my notice for KrisAnne Hall for the YouTube show? Because I'm not on YouTube. You just let them know, hey, watch this here. KrisAnne's not on YouTube. She's banned on YouTube again. So here we come up on, once again, we are coming up on the nomination or appointment of Judge Brown Jackson. And I want to play you a couple videos from Lindsey Graham, and then I'm going to give you my breakdown of this issue, just so you guys can know where the constitutional stand actually rests. Christian, go ahead and play that first Lindsey Graham video for me.
Upon her record of judicial activism, flawed sentencing methodology regarding child pornography cases, and a belief Judge Jackson will not be deterred by the plain meaning of the law when it comes to liberal causes.
So what Lindsey Graham was telling you is that he is not going to vote for her because of this record, right? What he laid out there was, this is why I will be voting no on the confirmation of Brown Jackson, which is incredibly hypocritical considering Lindsey Graham is part of the Republican group that put Brown Jackson on the federal bench to begin with. So, so what we're going to do now is show you Lindsey Graham's second video. Is that one ready to go? No? Okay. We're having some technical difficulties. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, Christian, when that one's ready to go, because I want you to see what's happening here. This is complete and total political theater. I want you to keep in mind, after Lindsey Graham's first statement, all the reasons why he's going to vote no. Okay. This resume that the woman has, she has in part because of Lindsey Graham. Because Lindsey Graham and the Republicans underneath him, you realize this whole seniority hierarchy thing, because of Lindsey Graham and the Republicans underneath him, Brown Jackson even has the resume to be, professionally qualified under their criteria to sit on the bench. So listen to this second statement, and he gets so passionate about this, from Lindsey Graham about Judge Brown Jackson.
If we get back the Senate and we're in charge, if we get back the Senate and...
Oh no, okay. All right. You want to try to do it again for a minute, or Christian's telling me he's having sound. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. Are we ready?
This morning, I'm going to announce my decision on Judge Jackson's nomination to the Supreme Court. I will oppose her.
Is that the first one? Okay, all right. You're working on it. Just give me a thumbs up again. Anyway. So we're going to get through. You have no idea the technical difficulties we had to start today's show. So is that a thumbs up you're giving me? Okay, all right. Here we go, Christian. Everybody give Christian a round of applause. We love him.
If we get back the Senate,
yes,
and we're in charge of this body, and there's judicial openings, we will talk to our colleagues on the other side. But if we're in charge, she would not have been before this committee. You would have had somebody more moderate than this. So I want you to know right now, the process you started to go to a simple majority vote is going to rear its head here pretty soon, where we're in charge. Then we'll talk about judges differently. If we get back the Senate.
All right. If we get back the Senate and we're in charge, right? We would never put forward a judge, would never have put forward Judge Brown Jackson. Can I remind you that they already have put forward Judge Brown Jackson? Judge Brown Jackson is called Judge Brown Jackson because of the Republicans. But I want you to listen to this language. If we get the Senate back. Do you understand? This is all political theater for midterms, guys. This is all political theater for midterms. Look at who he says. We would have put up a more moderate judge than this. Seriously, guys, a more moderate judge? How many times have you heard from me, we don't need a liberal judge. We don't need a conservative judge. We don't even need a moderate judge. We need a constitutional judge. And until we get people in office that actually have a moral center, unlike Lindsey Graham, nothing in the Supreme Court is ever going to change. A more moderate. You know what? Breyer on certain things was very moderate. Can I tell you that Chief Justice what is, oh my gosh, I've just had a total brain drain. John Roberts is, in the eyes of the conservatives, a moderate. So is Kavanaugh a moderate, who replaced a moderate in Kennedy. And now we have Amy Coney Barrett, who is also a moderate, who was sold at her nomination hearing as a hardcore religious right. She is not. She is a moderate. How many more moderates can we suffer on the Supreme Court to the destruction of our rights and our constitutions? We would give you a more moderate judge if we were in charge. Seriously, people. I don't know about you, but that little cry, we would give you a more moderate judge, is not going to get me to the ballot box to vote for more Republicans. Can I get an amen? I I'm not going to vote for more Republicans that are going to give me more John Roberts, that are going to give me more Kavanaughs, that are going to give me more Amy Comey Barretts. I'm not going to do that, because that's not what America needs. America does not need moderate judges. America needs constitutionally dedicated judges. America needs more judges like Gorsuch. And that's just the bottom line. Now, remember, this is my take on this. We're not replacing Scalia with Brown Jackson. We're replacing Breyer. Breyer was an activist judge. If we're not going to work, and by Lindsey Graham's standard, we are not going to be looking for a constitutional judge. He's just told you we're not looking for a constitutional judge. We're looking for a more moderate judge. I just can't say that without feeling a little angry inside. Lindsey Graham getting on his little passionate soapbox about how he's not going to vote for Brown Jackson. And if you put Republicans in charge, Brown Jackson would never be on the bench, even though we are the ones that made the resume for her. If you put more Republicans on in the Senate, then you won't have an activist leftist judge. No. Not an extreme leftist judge. Not an extreme one. You'll get a more moderate one. I mean, seriously, how vague, how non-committal, how unconstitutional can you get? He's not even promising you that you won't get an activist judge. No, as a matter of fact, he's promising you will get an activist judge. If you put the senators in the Senate that Lindsey Graham runs, you will actually get an activist judge, but you'll just get a more moderate activist judge. So they're playing this all up. This is theater, because Brown Jackson on the bench isn't going to change anything about how the Supreme Court operates. You need to be more worried about the liberal / moderate tendencies of Kavanaugh and Barrett, who were sold to be the conservatives. You don't need to worry about Brown Jackson. We know who she is. She's replacing someone just like her. You're not changing how the Supreme Court votes with her. You're keeping it status quo. What you really need to be concerned about is Kavanaugh and Barrett and their voting record, and how they very rarely actually side with liberty, how they most of the time side against religious liberty. They very rarely side with the Constitution, and nearly always side with precedent, whether bad, good, or non-existent. That's where you need to be concerned. Can I tell you? Your concern about Brown Jackson is very likely very misplaced. But it is a really, really awesome distraction from the fact that Kavanaugh and Barrett are siding with the liberals. It's also a very good motivator for the uneducated voter to get out and vote their team. To get out and say, oh, we got to get behind the red team, because the red team will not give us Brown Jackson, even though the red team already gave you Brown Jackson. We need to get behind the blue team, because the blue team will give us an activist judge. The red team will give us a more moderate activist judge. I'm sorry if this stuff ticks me off, but this is the Constitution we're talking about. And when you live in a society for over 150 years that has been taught that the Supreme Court is actually the ruling oligarchy of America, the body that's actually above the Constitution that created it, what are you going to do? I mean, there are certain realities and certain consequences that you have to admit. We've been operating for 150 years under the premise that the Supreme Court makes law, that their law can even go contrary to the Constitution, can be outside the Constitution. And it only takes an oligarchy of 5 to do it. I mean, if we could just sit down and meditate on that for just a few minutes and really comprehend what that means. That for 150 years, we've believed that the judicial body writes law outside the Constitution, possessing whatever power they want to come to whatever conclusion they desire, that the people and the states are merely at mercy to these black-robed rulers, that no one can overturn them but themselves, and that they're on the bench for life like a king. There's no other political body that holds office for life other than a king. Only we don't have one king in America. We have 5 kings. Potentially 9, but only 5 are relevant. Now they can swap out which 5 are playing king of the day. But the consequences must be admitted here. That 150 years of bad education, disinformation, misinformation. If you don't know the difference, please look them up. Has led the majority, the overwhelming majority of America to believe that there is no word higher than 5 on the Supreme Court. No one can overturn them. And now we're at the point where we can, add one, replace one, I should say, replace one of these people. And the best mantra the head Republican has is more moderate. See, this is why George Washington warned us that parties would be the death of America. That liberty would die at the hand of party factions. Because Lindsey Graham doesn't give a crap about the Constitution. I don't even think at this point Lindsey Graham even cares about America. Lindsey Graham cares about Lindsey Graham. And Lindsey Graham may care about Lindsey Graham's family, about passing on some treasure to Lindsey Graham's family. But for more so than any of that, Lindsey Graham is more concerned about the power and control of his party than he is about America or its Constitution. And I'm sorry, that's just the bottom line. You want to get into a fervor about Supreme Court nominees. Maybe we should get in less of a fervor about the people they pick and more of a fervor about the people who pick them. When the best promise you can get, the pinnacle of highest promises. If you give us a majority in the Senate, we'll give you a more moderate judge. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, what the heck's the point at this point? What is the purpose of the Senate at this point? Why do we even have a Senate? What is the purpose of the Republican Party? These are legitimate questions, guys. What is the purpose of the Republican Party if the best thing they can offer you is Democrat light? Why do you even look at this stuff? Why do we even get involved in these tribalistic battles when the best the Republican Party has to offer, the biggest promise they can get you, if you give them seriously, if they have a majority in the Senate and it's their turn to pick a Supreme Court justice, why the heck wouldn't you say, we will pick the most constitutional justice we can find? Why not? Seriously, if you have a majority and do you realize as a majority in the Senate, when nominations come and it comes time for appointment, if you hold a solid majority, you get whatever you want. I just want to be clear about that because the Democrats seem to understand that. The Democrats in the House seem to understand that when you have a clear and overwhelming majority, you don't even have to even placate the other side. So what Lindsey Graham is asking for is a clear and apparent majority. A clear and apparent majority in the Senate. And with a clear and apparent majority in the Senate, the best thing Lindsey Graham says he can do for you is give you Democrat light. If that doesn't tick you off, I don't know. We need to get out the defibrillators or something and stick some electric life back into your body. The best promise they can give you is destruction of the Constitution when they have the majority. So you see why I'm done with this stuff. You see why I don't buy into the whole party thing. Not at the federal level. Absolutely not at the federal level. They got rumors of Mike Pence running for president against Donald Trump. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? In the best, this is going to be a really interesting primary, if that's the case. Break out the popcorn for this primary. But I'll tell you what. If Mike Pence runs for president, that ought to be proof to you why he was vice president in the first place. I have said many times, and I have always believed, that Mike Pence signed on to be vice president with Donald Trump because he thought he was going to be the same kind of vice president as Dick Cheney. You have to understand, when George Bush was president, he was not president. Dick Cheney was president. And I firmly and wholly and completely believe that whether Pence believed this on his own or if this is what he was promised, he believed he was going to be a Dick Cheney vice president, that he was actually going to be president. They'd be like, Donald Trump, he's going to be in there, but, he doesn't really know how politics works. He's an outsider, but he's carrying this populism momentum. And so what we'll do, Mr. Pence, is we'll let him, you can swing in, you can, like they do in NASCAR, you can draft in as his vice president behind him, but we'll all know who's really in charge. But what they did is underestimated the ego of Donald Trump. They underestimated Donald Trump's capacity and bombacity to take charge. If you're going to tell Donald Trump he's the president of the United States, by goodness gracious, he's going to be that person. That's just who Donald Trump is. And they underestimated that. And they thought they were going to slide Pence in. That's why Pence was never on board with Trump, because Pence thought he was going to be Dick Cheney president. Like Dick Cheney was actually president when George Bush was president. Now, if that's all confusing to you, you can go back and do a little history, Go back and do a little history and see how all of this works. But I really, really believe that's how this is supposed to go. And this whole argument over Brown-Jackson is midterms political theater. That's all it is. Lindsey Graham told you it was. Just listen to his speech. I'm not going to vote for her because of this, this, and this. Well, you voted for her when she already had this and this and this for the lower courts. If we have the majority, if we get back the majority in the Senate, he's telling you this is all theater for midterms. We would have never nominated her, but you already did. You already accepted her as a federal judge. You don't get to go back and say we won't when you already did. She would not be in this position today if you had not Republicans already did. So what do I want to get out of what do I want you to get out of today's show? Because we're going to do a short show today. I think Christian's got some other stuff up there. We'll cover that other stuff next week. I want to keep this short and simple. Maybe we should have done this as a wake-up episode, but nonetheless, here we are. Yeah, we still could, couldn't we, Christian? But look, I want you guys, what do I want you to get away from this? Okay, there are a few things that I want you to take away from today's show. If you didn't already get it, first off, like and share, right? You already got it. You know what we're doing here. I'm going to give you the solutions and the bottom lines here. But before we get to that, please like and share. They've already kicked us off YouTube. We're losing a third of our audience. Go ahead. Help us fill that third. So what do I want you to take away from this? If you don't already get this, let me sort of bottom line it for you. It was like, political parties suck. Yeah, I have to give that to you. That's the no-brainer part, right? Lindsey Graham is a lying hack. Yeah. If you want to know who Brown Jackson is, you can go back and watch the episode where I take video evidence after video evidence after video evidence and prove to you who she is exactly. So I'm going to tell you she's a liar and a deceiver. But if you want that proof, we did that in another episode. Okay? So political parties suck. Lindsey Graham is a liar. The entire purpose, remember the terms under which Breyer resigned to begin with. Breyer did not voluntarily resign. He was pushed out. Why was he pushed out when he was? So they could have this political theater. Right? Because the whole Democrat mantra is, Biden started off the Democrat mantra with, I'm going to nominate a black woman. So you get everybody wandering around about all of this affirmative action. Well, she's not an affirmative action candidate. She actually has the best resume you could possibly think of to make a Supreme Court judge. And the Republicans gave her that resume. So, what do you take from this? Brown Jackson being appointed to this position on the bench in the Supreme Court is not as big a deal as they're playing it up. She is replacing Breyer. She will have no different opinion than Breyer. She is just one. So she's not even going to flip it either way. Exactly as the court was 6 months ago, if she's appointed, exactly the court will be today. This is all just hype. Hype. Like the cheerleaders on the side of the field. To get everybody out to go buy the tickets, to go watch the games. To vote the Republican Party back into power. So they can give you more moderate activist judges. So they can give you more moderate, compromising, unconstitutional acts and laws. That's what they're asking you for. So what is the solution, guys? The solution is, as it's always been, Your power is state and local. Don't get sucked into the federal black hole. Your first clue is that's where they want you to be. The constant media mantra. Federal, 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 federal. You ought to know by now, if the media is reporting it, you want to do the exact opposite. If the mainstream media is doing it, saying it, promoting it, you want to do the exact opposite. That's what you want to do. You got to ask yourself, what is the mainstream media promoting? Federal, 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 federal. Why? Because your real power is state and local. In these midterm elections, get plugged into your county commissioner elections. Get plugged into your city council elections. If you have a sheriff election coming up, get plugged in at that level. I'm begging you, please. And ensure that you have constitutional candidates there. Ensure that you have constitutional candidates in the state and local levels so that you can really make a change in your life, in the lives of your family members, the lives of your children. Please, 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 please. That's the solution. And then you have to be resolved to refuse to comply with your unconstitutional acts of your favorite moderate Republican. And that's the bottom line. If you don't understand that, go to noncompliantmovie.com and watch the movie. Go to noncompliantmovie.com now and watch what it means to say no and the power that you have in saying no. So I've given you the facts. I'm letting you discern the truth. I'm proposing to you solutions. And I'll just finish by saying one last time. Brown-Jackson will change nothing about the voting trend of the Supreme Court. What you need to be more concerned about is the voting trend of Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, who were your more moderate selections, as promised from your Republican majority. LibertyFirstSociety.com. If you want to expand your understanding of how the judicial nomination process works, if you want to expand your understanding of the role and the limited authority of the federal judiciary, go to LibertyFirstSociety.com. Take the judiciary class. That's just the beginning. We have dozens of classes there that are simple enough for a sixth grader, but with such depth and information that law students are taking them as well. I had a Supreme Court justice from Texas tell me that he learned more from me about the Constitution in 1 hour than he did in his entire legal education. And I don't think that's bragging on me, guys. I think that's an indictment on our education and our legal system. Like and share. LibertyFirstSociety.com, noncompliantmovie.com. Leave your comments below. Let everybody know what you got from today's show and how much you loved today's show. Encourage other people to join in. We are a teach show and not a talk show, where we're always liberty over security, principle over party, and truth over your favorite personality. God bless you guys. I will see you next time.